These rocky shores where I call home, where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, it's these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, it's these rocky shores, they are home to me.
Whenever I leave here, it hurts me so, with tears in my eyes. Oh, I hate to go. There ain't no work, and the kids need new clothes. The bills need paying, so off I must go.
These rocky shores, where I call home, where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, yes, these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me.
I think to myself, where did it all go? The life I once had on the ocean's gentle road. My tears in my eyes and my head in my hands, away from my family, I hope they understand.
That is these rocky shores, where I call home, it's where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, yes, these rocky shores, where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they are home to me. Yes, these rocky shores, they are home to me.
Good evening. Welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include: Friday was October 31st, Halloween. Interview with representatives from the Canadian Cancer Society. The annual Santa Claus Parade is fast approaching. Interview with Kevin Dunphy about the school council at St. John Central High. These stories plus community events, Off the Rack, the BBS Playbill, and more coming up in just a moment.
You know, Custom Carpet is Busy's favorite shop because they got tons of colors of cushion flooring and carpet to match their paint. Sure, they'll even help you to pick out the wallpaper and borders to match your paint and flooring. If somebody wants to make their own talk of the town, they should go to Custom Carpet because, old man, they got the goods to do it with and they're more than happy to help. Know something? Once again, old Bessie is right. Just wish she'd go and get some grub once in a while.
Ghosts, goblins, and lots of other creatures took to the streets on Friday afternoon to go trick-or-treating.
Okay. You see, you want me to go over. Come in. Come in. Hey, Rochelle. How many is it? 3 or 4? 4. 4? 4.
Friday night was a busy night here in Burgeo as kids were going door to door trick-or-treating. Most of the people I spoke with seemed to agree that the number of trick-or-treaters was down this year from previous years. The RCMP also reported that it was a quiet night and the trick-or-treating ran smoothly.
There's 4 and 4. How many is there? Goodness, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Come in.
Come in.
All of them ghosts and goblins.
My, trust I got any costume.
Well, it's a fine crowd of folks, Chairman. Let me see.
Virgil Lioness hosted a preschool Halloween party Thursday afternoon at the community center. Children ranging in ages from several weeks old to age 4 were present at the Lioness Halloween party. Some of the older children played games or just played with friends. After playing a few games, the Lioness treated the children to a lunch of French fries with Kool-Aid and cookies. Lunch was also available for any mom that wanted it. Some of the party guests, however, were a little too small to sit down and have a lunch. There are a number of issues that are causing some concern around our community. Constable McAlpine of the local RCMP addressed some of those issues.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Constable McAlpine with the RCMP here in Burgeo. I wish to take this time to clarify a bit of confusion that may exist regarding the vanity plates. The Department of Government Services and Lands advises that there are conditions respecting vanity plates used in the front of vehicles. Effective April 1st, 1997, a one-plate, one-sticker program was introduced for vehicles with plates beginning with the letters A, D, H, M, T, V, and W. The Highway Traffic Act states, a person is guilty of an offense who uses or permits the use of a marker or number plate upon a motor vehicle capable of being confused with the identification plate or marker of a vehicle issued or prescribed for that vehicle. What this means is it would prohibit the use of old Newfoundland and Labrador plates, plates from other provinces or states, an example being Northwest Territory plates, or plates that would resemble or could be mistaken for a license plate. The use of a vanity plate cannot be confused with a license plate. The use of a vanity plate that cannot be confused with a license plate is permitted. That may be plates that have little sayings on them, okay? The department also points out that the one license plate program does not apply to pickup trucks. All pickup trucks must have 2 plates on them. We here at the RCMP in Burgeo may not totally enforce this here, this 2-plate or the vanity plate system in Burgeo. We will be using discretion when it comes to this issue, but we cannot guarantee that the same discretion will be used outside of the Burgeo area. Moving on to some other points I wish to bring up in the community. Loitering has become a bit of a problem here lately, especially in the areas of the Scotiabank, in behind the Scotiabank and out front of the Scotiabank. This has got to cease immediately. We cannot have any more people hanging around the bank. They're doing things that they shouldn't be doing out back. Also, the post office. The people are hanging around the post office. Some students are hanging around the post office during recess time as well as lunchtime. We ask that you don't hang there, or please move on to some other place. We know it's difficult, but we hope that you'll find some other place other than the bank or the post office. Riding double on bikes has become a problem around town lately. We remind cyclists that it is illegal to ride double on a bike. We sometimes turn a blind eye, but if we have any more incidents of people running in the cars and that, riding on bikes, then we got to do something about it. We also had raised lately was in the community here was young people knocking on doors and running away. We wish to advise anybody that is doing that it is illegal to do so, and if you're caught, then the appropriate action will be taken. Another issue that seems that doesn't want to go away is the harassing phone calls. It is very easy for us to trace anybody getting harassing phone calls. Should you be getting any calls with anybody calling and hanging up or even talking, they don't have to stay on for very long. Just the fact that you picking up the phone will allow us to trace a call. So please report any of that, and we'll take care of whatever we can there. Thank you very much.
As part of last week's Science and Technology Week, students at A.J. Matthews School became inventors. The student inventions were put on display in the school gymnasium on Tuesday afternoon. All of the inventions from the primary and elementary students were judged by a panel of 3 judges. First, second, and third place prizes were awarded at each level.
I'd like to thank Mr. Rand Mayor and Mrs. Barker, high school principal, and Mr. Dave Cooper, our school council representative, for judging our contests today. You did a super job. We're really proud of you. Congratulations, everybody. The judges have made their final decision now.
Stay with us for more of This Week in Review following these words from tonight's sponsor.
Oh, I'd like to have some self-stick floor tile to go down in my basement.
Do you think they got any up to custom carpet?
Moles, don't you tax so loose with all hundreds of different colors of carpet and cushion floor they got to choose from up there. You know they can't self-stick tile.
We went up to see. Good gracious. They got some of the prettiest tiles I ever set me two eyes on. Black marble, white with burgundy diamonds, white with green diamonds. That's just to mention a few. And on top, guess what? They got wallpaper and borders to match too.
All schools across the province are now required to have school councils. The councils consist of a cross-section of teaching staff, parents, and community representatives. I spoke with Kevin Dunphy, chairperson of the school council at St. John Central High.
I'm here at St. John Central High School speaking with Kevin Dunphy. Kevin, I understand that you're the chairperson of the newly formed school council here at St. John Central High?
That's right.
Can you tell us what the purpose of forming a school council was?
Well, I guess our main purpose is school improvement. We want to enhance the quality of the education we can offer. And we want more input. We want the major stakeholders, the parents and the people in the community to have a stronger voice in how their children are educated. We plan on we hope to be able to promote and encourage and develop school policy, help in developing better school policy, improvement. Offer advice and recommendation recommendations to the board on what people feel is needed in order to make improvements. We want to be a link between the community and the school and the board. We want to make sure everyone's got a voice. We want to make sure that we enhance the quality of the school, and monitor and evaluate, how we're doing as a school. And I guess other than that, we'll also offer advice and approval of school fundraising and how the money could be best spent. And I think that pretty well sums up what the kind of roles that we would be taking on as a school council.
Who's on the council here at St. John Central High?
Okay, I've got a list of names here of all the people involved. We have, at this point, the principal of our school, Barbara Barter, of course, Chess Burton, myself, Guy Han, Faith Organ, Doris Pink, Joy Rose, and Corey Symes, who are student representatives, Ed Vetcher, and Julia Young so far. I don't think I left anybody out there. And I'm the chairperson, and Faith Organ is the vice chair, Julia's secretary, and Chess Burton is our treasurer.
Okay, when does the school council meet?
We meet the first Monday of every month. So.
Okay, how would a person go about getting an issue brought up at a school council meeting?
Okay, if you've got a concern and you want it addressed, well, first of all, remember that there's certain concerns that we don't deal with. If there's an individual matter, like if there's a matter with a particular person, particular individual in the school, teacher, administrator, that you got to follow a protocol first. You need to bring that to the person first of all, probably to the administration. But we don't deal with individual matters like that. We deal with school improvement policies, but individual I suppose disputes or problems should follow protocol before they ever come to us. First of all, they should probably go to the individual, then to the administration, and possibly the board. We may have some input in there somewhere, but it doesn't come directly to us. So we deal with school policy issues, fundraising, communications, improvement, ideas for improvement. So, but if you're interested in bringing something to our committee or at a meeting, it should be brought 7 days prior to the first Monday in the month. So you know, the meeting will be a meeting will be held on the first Monday of every month. So 7 days prior to that. That gives us time to put it onto our agenda, right? And it gives us gives people time to think about how that can be dealt with, you know, effectively. So that will be the route to take. Take it to one of the members who I mentioned, and we can certainly put it on the agenda, you know, if it's a suitable issue. And
Are your school board meetings open to the public?
yes, at this point, no, because we're still working on our policy, making how things are going to work. We're still getting we're figuring out, I guess, just what our roles are and how the school operates here. We're just getting familiar with all that. So after Christmas, we feel we're going to be ready to open the meetings up to anyone who might be interested in attending.
Okay, and you mentioned about bringing an issue to a member 7 days prior to a meeting. Should that be in writing form or?
Not necessarily. No, I certainly would help, but we'll put it on the agenda. Like if it's brought to our attention, we can decide. Then we meet to decide. You know, myself and the secretary and probably Miss Barter. You know, we can meet and make up an agenda. So if it's something that's brought to one of us, certainly put it on the agenda. So it doesn't have to be necessarily in writing. I don't think that hasn't been discussed.
Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, not if you don't have any other questions. That's pretty much, I think, covers. I just want to make people aware that we're there and that we're going to be open to the public. We welcome people's input. You know, that's what the school council is for. It's to get input from the community, so people got a better voice in how their children are being educated here in Virgil.
Okay, well, we'd like to thank you for speaking with us.
Okay, thank you.
It's hard to believe, but Santa Claus will soon be here. The Burgeo Lions Club is busy planning for its annual Santa Claus Parade. This year's annual Lions Santa Claus Parade will take place on Sunday, December 7th, weather permitting. Otherwise, the parade will be held over to December 14th. The parade will be leaving from the Fish Plant parking lot at 2 p.m. It will take the same route as previous years and end up at the community center, where goodie bags will be given out to the kids. Local businesses will be approached during this coming week for donations for the parade. All donations received from businesses for the parade are used for the goodie bags, which are given out to the children of our community. Without the support of local businesses, the parade would not be possible. Although the Lions Club organizes the parade every year, it is a community event. Without the support of businesses and organizations from the community, the parade would not be possible. The Lions Club would like to thank all those businesses who supported the parade last year and look forward to your continued support. Also, if you're planning to enter a float in this year's parade, you're asked to please contact Lion Roger Hand. Canadian Cancer Society put off a workshop here in Burgeo last Saturday. I spoke with the two representatives from the Canadian Cancer Society who offered the workshop.
Yep.
Okay. Speaking with me in the studio today is Linda Walters and Katie Watson from the Canadian Cancer Society. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
I understand that you held an emotional support training workshop here in Burgeo this weekend. Can you tell us a bit about that workshop?
The emotional support training that we did is the new Cancer Society program called The Roots of Support, and it's encompassed in this book. It is intended as a support program for people who are living with cancer, for people who have experienced cancer, and for their family members. And it encompasses both a one-on-one support program and a group support program. And we did a training which encompassed both aspects this weekend.
So how many people attended the workshop?
We had 7 people attend.
How did you determine that there was a need for a workshop of this type here in Burgeo?
Well, back in the spring, we put an ad on the community channel here in Burgeo telling people that if they would like to do an emotional support training, that we would come to Burgeo and offer it. And we got, I think, 3 responses right almost immediately following the first ad, and then a couple of more. The response was really good, and we set the date and came out to do it.
What are some of the services that the Canadian Cancer Society provides?
Well, perhaps I could just explain a little more the one-on-one and group support training first.
Okay.
The aim of one-on-one support is if you have, say, a lady who has experienced breast cancer and has gone through chemotherapy and has done the training, the one-on-one training. If we then have another lady who is diagnosed and has questions that she would like answered on a personal basis from somebody who has actually experienced it themselves, we will match these 2 people up and they can support each other, and the person who has gone through the experience can give their own non-medical advice. We don't give any medical advice. And in group support, you can gather in groups for an exchange of information and learning sessions. This comes under the patient services umbrella of the Canadian Cancer Society. We have other patient services.
Yes, we do. In our office in Corner Brook, we supply a variety, and this is only one, variety of wigs that people can avail of if they're losing their hair as a result of treatment, a result of chemotherapy. And it's only a matter of calling or coming by, if possible, and picking out a suitable one. We also have turbans that are a little bit more comfortable maybe for everyday use than the wig, and all this is supplied free of charge. We have booklets that might help people. I have 2 right here. One is a nutrition guide, and it's for people living with cancer, and this nutrition guide will give tips on foods that may be eaten if you're experiencing a sore mouth, which would be another side effect. And it gives some sample menus and things like this. It's kind of helpful to people who are undergoing treatment. And we have a booklet that's fairly popular with our chemotherapy unit. It's Taking Time, and it's support for people living with cancer and people who care about them. And it goes into helping each other, how to deal with children, adjusting in the family, and so on. It's a good read for people having to go through this, especially for the first time. That's some of our patient services. We also have in the office a limited supply of equipment like wheelchair, commode, that people can get, and if anybody from Burgeo needed it, certainly I'm sure we can get it to them on the bus fairly quickly. Yes.
The other thing that we do, if we know that somebody is coming into Corner Brook to have chemotherapy from Burgeo and they're staying in the hostel, or maybe they're staying with family members and the family members have to work, instead of them taking a taxi to go for their chemotherapy, we can arrange perhaps for them to have a volunteer driver take them, and then if they're feeling unwell on the way home, they have a friend with them as opposed to somebody who is just transporting them. So we hope that people in Burgeo will phone us and let us know. One thing we can't do, we can't approach people. We have to wait to be approached because we can't be privy to certain information unless it's given to us. We can't go and say, well, who are these patients? People have to come to us, which is why we want you to know where we are.
Okay, so where is your office located in Corner Brook?
As of Monday, we'll be on 93 West Street, which is the Good House building, right directly above Shoppers Drug Mart on West Street. We're moving from our current premises to office on the second floor. Even though it's on the second floor, you can drive up around the back, and it's wheelchair accessible through the upper entrance. So it's on the second floor of the Good House building, and I think most people know where that is, right above Shoppers Drug Mart.
And you can phone us.
Mm-hmm.
Our number is 634-6542, and you may call us collect.
Okay, is there anything else that either of you would like to add?
We do have a toll-free cancer information service number. It's a national site in Toronto, I think it's located. It will give you any information that you have, any questions or concerns. Pamphlets can be sent out to you, information can be downloaded from the internet and accessible through this number. The number is 1-888-939-3333. And anybody can phone that number, toll-free number, and get information about cancer sites or treatments or research or whatever. We also have a public education service, Dave, that we like to advertise, that our public education, and maybe Katie can fill you in.
Yes, we do as much public education through the newspaper and through workshops as we can. We try to have breast self-examination workshops for ladies, and if anybody would like, the public health nurses here certainly know very well how to do breast self-examinations, and if anybody wants any literature on that, or on things like prostate cancer.
We have pamphlets.
We've got lots of pamphlets, and we're more than happy to send them out. If high schools want information on smoking, on non-smoking, particularly on sun sense, any of our public education material, we're more than glad to send it to you.
And we also have books and videos, books like this one, Making Cancer Less Painful. It's a handbook for parents, books on breast cancer, videos on breast self-examination, nutrition, sun sense, and these can be all sent to an individual or to schools on an on-loan basis. These pamphlets can be kept. They're distributed free of charge. The books and videos are on an on-loan basis.
Okay, well, we'd like to thank you for coming in and speaking to us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much for having us.
I spoke with Barbara Barter, principal at St. John Central High School, about some concerns that have been expressed by parents and students.
Barter, how are things progressing on the Learning Resource Center here at St. John Central High?
Well, it hasn't been happening as quickly as I would like it to have been happening, Dave, but it looks now like everything is in approval order from the Department of Public Works and Services and from District Number 4 and from the Public Library Board. So we're looking at ordering our supplies now and starting renovations the 10th of November. So by the middle of November we should see things happening downstairs, and hopefully by Christmas we should be close to the end. So we're looking at about 6 weeks work. And at that time we should see the merger of both libraries down on the first floor. As a matter of fact, I was talking with the Provincial Library Board this morning, and they have indicated that they are in the progress of signing a joint agreement with District 4. Our director, Mr. Andrew Butt, has already signed that agreement. And I think it's tentative to go before the Provincial Library Board this week, and then once that's done, the move will be made towards bringing about a joint service in library services for the community.
Okay, at present there is no library here at St. John Central High. How are the students coping without the library?
Well, they're coping very well, actually, because, I mean, basically, when we planned this, everyone wishes to have their renovations done during the summer. I mean, everyone likes to come back in September with a fresh start, with a newly renovated building, all maintenance done, all textbooks in, and so on and so forth. That was supposed to happen. The intent was good. But in between of all of the barriers, I guess, of getting government approval and district office approval and so on and so forth. That process has been made much longer than we anticipated. And yet on the other hand, we had HRD funding coming in with the intentions of starting in September. So we kind of had to compromise and say, okay, do we cancel everything? Well, if we canceled everything, we were losing we were losing a place for our students at risk who haven't graduated from high school, and yet we wanted to bring back into the school to see if they could get their diploma and graduate, which would be, I guess, our youth basic education. We were also concerned about getting our adults into the school so that we could offer our adult basic education courses. We've also, by that time, had in process the internet service. All of those things were already signed up, so we were kind of caught in going forward with what little that we had. And so unfortunately that took a toll on our library, because we had everything cleaned out of our library in order to start the project ASAP, and of course that didn't happen. Students have coped quite well. What we did was, in the short term, was put up some shelves in one of the rooms that was our former library, and put our tables out in the corridor, because we have a fairly extensive corridor there, and it's wide compared to other schools, so that students could come down and do their research work, for example. Language, often the language teachers demand a certain amount of time to bring their students in to do research. History courses, social studies courses, that kind of thing requires research work. So teachers have been working around that. We've put back all the resource material that we thought would be needed by students. And so we have them coming into the room, getting their materials, the materials that they need, and then taking them to a working table in the corridor so that the room doesn't become congested. There has been, I think, some concern expressed by, by at least one parent, maybe more, although they haven't approached me, so I'm not sure on the number, about the idea that, students can only go in small numbers. But basically, the staff and I got together in September when the concern was expressed at a previous school council meeting. And, what we asked ourselves was, what is it that we can do in the short term that would make our library accessible for students, at least at a minimum usage? And that's what teachers did. So teachers bring them in, they get their books, and they go out to the table. Recess time, if they want to sit there and work, or after school, if they want to sit there and work, they can. If they want access to the materials on Sunday nights and Tuesday nights, Homework Haven is open, and there are 3 personnel available, 2 in particular, Florence Courtney and Tim Sims, who will work with students if they need extra help, and will also give them access to the library. But the bottom line is, this school no longer has a librarian. When we cut back last year, we had to decide where the cutbacks were going to be, and so one of them was the 0.15 or 0.20 that we had for the library. Which means that generally now it has become a resource room. The teacher brings the students in, so it's not a place where they can check out books. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very anxious to get the libraries together, so that students then will also have an open opportunity to take out novels and that type of thing for pleasurable reading, as opposed to just research reading. So I'm asking parents to bear with us, and students, and I asked the students that at the beginning of the year. None have come back and complained, but I'm sure some of them are probably frustrated with not being able to walk into the library and do research the way that they have been used to. But within 6 weeks, that should be accommodated.
Okay, I guess another concern for you as principal each year is how well the grade 7 students are adjusting to the move from A.J. Matthews School here to St. John Central High. How's that been this year?
That has been done quite well. I don't know sometimes if it's a fear of the student, although I think it is. When you do something new, it's a frightening experience. It's like the idea, I suppose, of making this a community school, of having your libraries merged, things that are different, we often have a tendency to have a fear of. And I think parents as well sense that fear in their children and become fearful themselves. We split the grade 7 classes this year. We have 2 classes as opposed to 1, which they were in at the elementary, I believe. And they've been doing quite well. We don't have an open house here like the elementary do. I think they have a curriculum night. Our courses, I guess, in junior high, I guess, to me, seem to be, to be run in a different way. They don't have a homeroom teacher that teaches most of the courses. It's based on the high school structure whereby teachers are teaching specialty courses. So they have a language teacher, a math teacher, a French teacher, a phys ed teacher, and so on and so forth. So they would have quite a few more teachers than they would probably experience in elementary. So it's very difficult to create what you would call a curriculum night. However, I would like to make parents of grade 7 students aware of the fact that we do have policies that are put into place about courses that they can get their hands on if they want them. As a matter of fact, usually the first week of school, one of the first things that a teacher does is passes out their evaluation policy. So any parent should be able to ask their child, what's your evaluation policy in math? How are you being evaluated in social studies? How are you being evaluated in French? And the child should be able to tell them. Now, I have in front of me the whole manual for the school for all courses, and I just pulled social studies grade 7, living in North America. The teacher is Mrs. Beverly Batcher, and she has the course line and the evaluation that children should have. She lists her goals. She tells what the content of the course will be. She tells what the key concepts are and the what the skill developments will be, what the major understanding will be for completing the course, what her core chapters are going to be, which one she's going to cover, and the evaluation scheme. And this the students should have. They should be able to say to their parents, well, Mom, our unit tests are valued at 60%. Our exercise work for participation and discussion is valued at 10. Our midterm quiz and test is valued at 10. There's special activities and assignments valued at 10, and there's a research and presentation valued at 10, which adds up to the 100% total at the end of the course. Every teacher is expected to give that to the students. Now, in other years, we passed it on paper. But what we've found with many of our junior high and high school students is that the paper never reaches home. It ends up in their locker or in their book bag, and so when you ask a parent if they've seen this, they say no. So many teachers this year put it on the blackboard or put it on an overhead for the children to write down so that they'd have it in their exercise book. Of course, the second reason for that as well is that we're on budgetary restraints, and we found that we were passing out, the paper, and it wasn't getting anywhere, so it was, really a waste of money in our view. But parents can easily have access to this. If the child says, no, I didn't copy it down, when the parent comes into open house, all they have to do is ask the teacher, and the teacher can give it to them. But I just wanted to make parents aware that there is an evaluation policy in this school. Teachers are expected to tell all the students what that evaluation is for each course. And if they don't know, then they can see the teacher, and the teacher will certainly give it to them if there's some reason why they don't have it, or if there's some reason why the parent doesn't have it. And I think parents should also realize that with high school and with junior high comes an indication of maturity, I suppose, for students. Students want to be independent. But I always caution parents that children are children at all ages until they finish school, and even when they go to university in many cases, and that they should be cautious of dropping some of the habits that they might have had with their children in elementary, because junior high kids might have the tendency to go home and say, well, we don't have any homework tonight, Mom, or I don't want you to help me with my homework, I can do it myself. But I think parents should continue to ask the questions, what did you have in school today? and you know, what do you need help with, and ask questions so that they're very much aware of what their children are doing, basically the same as they would have in elementary. We put every week on the BBS, we put the tests that are going to happen for the next week, so parents have an indication of what tests are being given. They also would have an idea of what tests have been passed back if they check the channel. We also have a homework hotline if they phone in the evening, usually after 5:30 when I go home, where we list all of the homework for that night so that children come home and say, I don't have my homework done, or I don't have any homework to do, which usually is a line. They can phone the homework hotline, and most teachers put their homework there. And I think parents should be conscious of the fact that students in junior high should be spending a minimum of an hour every night. If they're not bringing home books, if they're not spending an hour every night, there's something wrong. Because there isn't that much of a drastic change between elementary and junior high. And, I mean, high school should be more. For high school, I say a minimum of 2 hours a night, you know. So if parents are kind of concerned about that because we haven't gotten together, then my advice to them would be to check the homework hotline, to check with teachers if they feel that the books aren't coming home. I've had parents who have called and said, my child hasn't brought home any books, and I've said, meet me down to school 10 minutes, I'll unlock the door, let them in, they can get the books. Because if they're coming home night after night without books, they've slacked off. They're not doing their work or taking responsibility for their work.
Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, except to let parents know that November the 7th report cards are going out for the first term, and that our open house will be November the 12th and the 13th. All parents are very much welcome. I'll be sending out a letter next week asking parents to choose time so that they're not here waiting for a long period of time, and they'll be assigned within a 1 hour period when they can drop in and go around and see the teachers. All of our classes are on the top floor, so they can come in and go upstairs then, and we usually have about 10 parents at a time come through, or 15 parents at a time come through the building. And that kind of speeds it up for them, and they're not waiting 2 or 3 hours. But we would really appreciate all parents coming out. And if there's something then that any of the parents are concerned about, or they have a question about, or they're not sure of, they can drop into my office and see me, or see the vice principal, Mr. Benoit, and we'll certainly give them the answer or find the answer for them if we don't have it.
Okay, well, we'd like to thank you for speaking with us today.
Thank you very much.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, community events, and the BBS Playbill. All that after this.
T'other night, Bessie got up in her sleep, tripped long over the dog, and whop, put her right through the wall. Don't worry, Bessie, I said, long as you didn't hurt your we can fix the wall, 'cause Custom Carpet got a full line of drywall knives, sandpaper, plastering large buckets and small buckets. They also got plaster tape at prices that just can't be beat. Bessie, good job the wall wouldn't break on there.
Off the Rack. This week as we scanned our tape racks, we came across a video of a school Halloween party in the gymnasium of A.J. Matthews School. Here's a look back now to November 5th, 1995.
Happy Halloween, everybody!
The primary students paraded through the school in their costumes before having their individual class parties. The elementary students all got together for a party in the gymnasium, complete with music and canteen services.
Good evening and welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. I'm Rhonda Green. The Burnett TV Bingo held on Wednesday was won by Laura Pearcett. Congratulations, Laura. There is no TV bingo scheduled for this coming Wednesday. The RCMP wished to advise area residents that effective Thursday, October 28th, studded tires may be placed on your vehicle. The RCMP wished to remind area residents that with winter coming on, you should equip your vehicle with survival items should you break down and become stranded on the highway. St. John Central High would like to remind Haldot learners that the Plato system located at the Haldot Drop-In Center is again operational. The school would like to apologize for any inconvenience this has caused students. The Burgess Detachment at the RCMP are seeking any information concerning the June 1996 break and enter at the Lions Center. Although some time has passed, no names have surfaced as who responsible for this crime. If you have any information on this or any other crime, please contact the local RCMP or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-363-8477. All calls will be kept strictly confidential. If your group or organization has an upcoming event planned, we will be happy to advertise it for you. You can contact the BBS office by Wednesday of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's program. See you next week.
BBS Playbill. Join us on Monday at 7 p.m. for Religious Revelations. This month's service comes to us from St. John the Evangelist Church. Tune in on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for Pansy's Garden. Then on Wednesday at 7 p.m. we will have a video about violence and how to break the cycle. This video is entitled Men's Work. At 7 p.m. on Thursday we will have assorted entertainment from the Salmon Sea Festival Matthew Visit. Join Pansy and the gang for crafts, stories, and lots of fun Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on Pansy's Garden. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. Next week's program will be followed by the season premiere of The Bandwagon. Please stay tuned now for assorted entertainment from the Salmon Sea Festival Matthew Visit. For This Week in Review, I'm Dave Cooper. Good night.